Oh boy, it's finally here. Yes, let's go. Mate, this is insane. Absolutely insane. This is exactly what I wanted to see. Now, I know what you're all probably thinking. This doesn't look very similar to the last year. It's the bottom bit which you have to pay attention to in this whole thing. Yes, okay, their cash flow isn't amazing, but look at this bottom part. We'll do a proper deeper analysis throughout the video. If you haven't already, please remember to hit that like button and subscribe for me. It really helps the channel out. And I'm here to bring all of the NAKD content, so I hope you all enjoy this analysis of this 20F filing. And yeah, let's get on with the video. Before we get into today's video, I just want to say I'm in no way, shape or form a financial advisor, and please take anything I say with a pinch of salt. I'm simply a university student studying business and management, and that is all. Stocks and battlefields, be sure to do your own research, your own due diligence for entering into the battlefield. I can only scout the battlefield for you, however, I cannot fight the battle for you. With that being said, let's move on. Now, let's have a look at this 20F and let's do a proper deep analysis of what this all means, what all these numbers mean. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. The revenue has got less and less and less and less. Now, this is something that we all need to take into account when we're looking at this data. So, looking at this, the selected financial information below includes financial information relating to our former subsidiary, Bendon. As a result of the Bendon sale presently, our sole operating subsidiary is Fredericks of Hollywood. Now, this includes the Bendon losses. We all know that Bendon, as a brick and mortar operations, had a lot of losses attached to the company. And we were all prepared for the cash flow to not be amazing, right? And that was just due to Bendon still being a part of the NAKD subsidiary chain. But that is no more. Next year is going to be a great cash flow year, in my opinion. And we should see a lot more. Well, I'm not sure about revenue as such, because that includes sale revenue and stuff. But I do think that we're going to see a lot more profit margin when looking into this company. So looking at the data down below, which is probably the biggest part of what we all wanted to know about NAKD's current positions, right? And as you can see below, so cash and cash equivalents equates to $90,925,000. Right? So that is a great cash position. And I know what we were saying was $270 million worth of cash, but they have that in assets. As you can see here, $159 million worth of assets. Now, add the cash and the assets together, it equals $270 million. In addition, there is $63 million worth of working capital, which is basically like the raw materials. It's basically separate to the assets. It basically shows the raw materials within the company that's not included within the assets, right? The borrowing, so this is sort of like the liability section. So as you can see here, a lot less liabilities, and that was what they were saying. So $17 million worth of liabilities, but I believe that is now eliminated as of current, as they said, zero debt. And bear in mind, these figures are still not fully updated. They're not up-to-date figures because, you know, they're still using the Bendon subsidiary in this data. So they probably had to borrow money to cover on the whole Bendon situation. That is what I'm reading here from this. And they make this very clear. If Bendon wasn't a massive sort of setback for NAKD as a whole, they wouldn't include Bendon in this section here. So clearly Bendon has been a massive burden to the potential growth of this company. And as you can see here, the basic loss per share currently 62-cent loss. So it was at 277 cents back in 2019. But yeah, it's still the cash flow in general. I mean, it's good. It is good. Especially this bottom bit. This is what we already wanted to see. In my opinion, this is nothing to be worried about at all, because looking at this is still relating to Bendon. Now we're getting rid of Bendon. There's a lot of potential growth for this company. Now moving down the bottom, is there anything? So now looking deeper into this sort of 20F, right, for NAKD. And I have to keep my voice down because my gran is currently asleep upstairs, right? So this 20F, this is the thing that I think triggered a lot of people. That's why we saw some recent price drop. As you saw, we saw a very large amount of price drop, but then we did see it climb back up again, luckily. So, you know, I wouldn't read into this too much because I do think there was hedge fund manipulation. They knew something was going to come out today, and I think that they were ready at the buzzers for this one. And I don't think anything in here is too much to really say. This is a very bad, right? But this ATM offerings is a concern. And the reason why it's a concern is that on April 30th, they sold an aggregate of 69 million ordinary shares for gross proceeds of $69 million. Now, I don't really understand why NAKD need to keep doing more offerings. And although they're only going to release these shares every now and then and when they're needed, I know it's a form of security, right? But I don't think they actually need it as such at the moment, especially when they have all this cash available to potentially get a merger, unless they are raising funds for something big. And that could be what we are seeing here with this ATM offering. It could be they are trying to raise capital to potentially buy like a big company, and you know that could be what we are seeing here, because in honesty they have no other reason now. They have managed to raise money through that equity line. We know they have cash, so I don't really understand why they want to keep, you know, putting out these offerings but to get like maybe a big company merge in. So yeah, looking at the top sort of figures, right? So let's just do a full rundown of the report, right? So we have revenue. Revenue is down by $10 million. Nothing to worry about. COVID's happened. It is what it is. Basically, most stores that are brick and mortar, obviously Bendon was a massive brick and mortar operation, and NAKD is still pretty much brick and mortar, but they are reverting to e-commerce as they have stated. So that is what the revenue is. Looking at the cost of goods sold, $46 million loss. But that's obviously the cost of the goods, so that's the operating costs essentially. So that comes out to 46 million. Again, that's fine because that is 10 million less than it was last year. So that is good. That is good from last year. So they have reduced their costs, but also as well, they haven't had as much revenue. So it makes sense, right? So pretty much they stay pretty mellow. They haven't done much since last year, apart from obviously this section here. This is the main. This is what you need to focus on, because everything here is pretty much identical to their 2020. Right, there is nothing here that really, you know, springs out at me. You know, they had to pay some more interest for the income. So obviously 3.6 million. I mean, it's this part here. This is what you all need to focus on: the cash positions, the working capital, the total assets, the less amount of borrowings as well. And obviously the total shareholder equity has gone up massively because they issued the shares, and now that they have managed to raise capital through these shares, it's just all looking positive right now. Okay, so this is the next day since the last recording, and I wanted to just outro this video, but I also wanted to give you a bit of context about what we saw yesterday in NAKD. I was going to upload a video last night, but due to the recent price action, I thought what I'd do is I'd wait until the next day, because I wanted to see how it played out, because I'd never thought that, you know, this would be the be-all and end-all as it kept dropping. I did think that there was going to be some sort of price rebound, so I wanted to wait for that. And as we saw here, the price has rebounded, and today has just stayed very mellow at the 54 cent mark. I do not think this is bad at all, and for any NAKD shareholders out there, in my opinion, the 20F looks good. And to be honest, there was nothing in there which was really out of hand. There wasn't anything in there that we didn't know of already, really. Like, we already knew about like their share offerings, for example. And let's be clear here. Their share offers, it's more of a security for them. It doesn't mean that they're going to actually implement the shares. It's similar to the whole AMC with the whole 500 million shares that they wanted to, you know, sort of have the offering there available if they needed the cash. But obviously NAKD is in such a good position that they probably will never have to use it for a long time, touch wood, right? So, you know, I just wanted to put my thoughts out there the day after, just so you all gauge a proper understanding of what I think after it. And, you know, I was also like revising as well today. I've just come out of an exam, so my brain is pretty hot right now. So, you know, I thought that this would be a perfect time to really give you all my thoughts on this whole situation. And this has, in all honesty, it's just made me a lot more secure in my investment. Now that I know everything that's gone on in NAKD over the last year, and to make sure that the facts that we knew added up in the financial report, that is the main thing. And that has made me a lot more secure in my investment, and I hope it has for all of you as well. Let me know down below what you think of the 20F. And with that being said, that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you've all enjoyed this video. If you have, please remember to hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you next video on the channel. Take care, Mortar Army.